How to have happy customers or clients in your business. Welcome to another episode of the Flow Protocols. My name is Kat Howell, and I'm going to be your guide on this journey. Now, there's two parts to unhappy clients, and I must say, no matter how good you are, no matter how amazing your offer is, at one stage or another, you're going to come across an unhappy customer. Now, if your offer is really good and you have developed the emotional skills to not get in fear or react from this, chances are this is not going to happen, or hopefully this won't happen very often to you. But as I said, it's probably going to happen once in a while. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. This can be a phenomenal opportunity for you depending on how you handle it. Now, as I mentioned, there's two parts to look at this. So the first thing is to ask yourself, did you drop the ball with your client? This is going to happen to all of us once in a while. If it was your fault, we will get to this in a moment. But sometimes, and I just had this experience with a private client of mine who had a client who demanded a really tight deadline. She worked overtime. She went above and beyond to deliver for this client, and they were not sending her the assets that were needed to launch on time. And it was not her fault. It was the client's fault. And the client got very, very angry and upset at her and went into deep space of frustration and blame and made her feel ashamed for the work that she did. So asking yourself first, did I drop the ball, or is this the client being unrealistic? Now, in the instance that the client is at fault and you did nothing wrong, one of the things to take into consideration is the fact that an unhappy client is in an emotional red. They're frustrated, they're angry, they're in blame, they're looking to point the finger at someone else. Emotions are contagious. So if someone yells at you when you are driving and they cut you off, likely you're going to take that emotion and carry it throughout the rest of your day and pass it on to other people, maybe your children or peers at work or in your business. And so it's very, very important that we recognize not to react or to respond in the same emotional state. If you've done a good job and you delivered exactly what was agreed upon, and yet your customer or your client is coming at you from an emotional red, disengage immediately before you respond. If you respond in anger or in blame, again, it's just going to create a ping pong match where the reds get bounced around over and over again. And that's going to affect your other relationships. It's going to feel shit for you, and it's going to exacerbate the situation with that client or that customer. It's never going to solve the issue, right? If someone is upset at us and they're yelling at us, the solution is not to yell back at them. That usually does not solve the issue. So the first thing is to recalibrate with your energy before you respond to this client. Go and find the things that help you shift reds into greens. And that's going to be different for everyone. For me, for example, I know that if I go to the gym or if I do gardening or I spend time outside or spend time with some friends or people that I love, I usually am able to touch those greens or shift those emotional reds. I have a toolbox of activities that support my well-being. If you don't know what gets you into emotional greens, this is your cue to go and date yourself. Figure that out. It's the most important skill you can ever develop in life. And unfortunately, they won't teach you this stuff in school. Once you have shifted that energy and you are calm and collected and confident in yourself, that is when you can respond. Again, don't message them back. Don't call them from a space of anger. It's only going to fuel the whole situation. In the instance where the client was at fault and you did nothing wrong, when you communicate back in greens, and it could be something as simple as, I'm sorry you're seeing it this way. Here's the itemized list of what I did, the agreements, here's the screenshots or the conversations that we had or the email that I sent requesting this information that was never responded to. If they continue to come at an attack, if that doesn't dissipate the situation and they don't come to terms with it and apologize or see it from your perspective, this is a test for you to set boundaries and decide what you will and will not accept in your business. Oftentimes in the agency, we would have clients like this that just went on the attack and they would make the staff feel like shit. Now, I understood as a business owner that if I allowed these customers to stay in my business, this would deteriorate ultimately long-term the quality of the work, the morale of my team, and their trust in me as a leader. Sometimes the universe is going to send you tests, financial tests, clients that are paying you good money, people that are saying the right things, and it is going to be up to you to say, am I going to accept this money even though it doesn't feel that great because I need the money and the money is enticing? And if you accept that, you're setting the cadence, you're setting the pace of what you will attract in the future in your business, what you will tolerate. And so this is a test for you to go, no, we're done here. We cannot continue this relationship. In the same way that this would happen in a romantic relationship. If someone is walking over your values and it is not something you're willing to accept or compromise on, it makes you feel like shit. The test in that situation is for you to set the boundaries and disconnect from that relationship so that you can attract the right kind of person in your life. And it's the same thing in business. If the issue is not resolved and you're made to feel shame and they will not come to terms or see it from your perspective, and you accept a client like this in your business that makes you feel really bad and constantly making you question yourself, I promise you more of those clients are going to show up in your world. And so setting that boundary and the way that we can close that relationship off is very simple. Again, calm, cool, and collected. I'm really sorry to hear this at this stage. I don't think it's a good idea to continue working together. Another way to do this is to pitch them like 10 times the amount our fees have raised to XYZ. And usually the client will say, hell no, that's way too much money. That's a good exercise to do because it helps you practice higher price brackets, which will then make your existing price bracket seem really cheap and easy for you to say. So it can be a good exercise to build confidence. The thing you want to watch out for, though, is that some clients, they will still accept the higher fee. And so if you're very clear with yourself, I do not want to continue this relationship, don't even try that, cut it off. Now, in the instance where you did drop the ball, and sometimes this happens, if you did drop the ball and you were at fault and the client is upset about it, again, do not respond in emotional reds, right? Don't feel attacked. I mean, you're allowed to feel attacked, but don't respond from that emotional state. Disengage, recalibrate your energy, go do something that makes you feel calm, that helps you collect your thoughts, and come back to the conversation when you're in a green state. Now, unhappy customers, believe it or not, can become your most loyal brand ambassadors. So I remember once being on a call with an insurance company, and insurance generally is not a industry that people have a lot of affinity with. And they had double charged me, and I had been on the phone for over an hour and a half, and I was really aggravated, and I was in the reds. And when I got on the call with them, they immediately resolved the issue and said, we refunded it, no questions asked. It was seamless, and it was easy to deal with, and it was just awesome. and I've continued to stay a customer with them. Even though I was really, really upset and I was ready to pull the plug and you guys suck and blah, 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 blah. The way they handled the situation made me a loyal customer. Isn't it great, right? When you find out that you've been billed by accident for a software you subscribe to that you haven't used for 2 years, and then you finally notice it on your statement, and then you get in touch with them and you're ready to fight and battle it. I haven't used this, and they diffuse it immediately by saying, we're so sorry, that's been taken care of. And you're like, oh, this is a great company. Amazing. Highly recommend these guys. Even if you're not going to use their services, that experience will make you an advocate for them. So every unhappy customer is actually an opportunity, either an opportunity for you to set boundaries in your business or an opportunity to create a really powerful brand advocate, depending on how you respond. And if you're responding from emotional reds, it's going to add fuel to the fire. They're going to go into war with you, and then you're really going to lose that trust. And they may start spreading things about you or talking bad or posting on Reddit or whatever, leaving negative reviews everywhere. If you're willing to accept that you dropped the ball and then explain a solution to them that benefits both parties, that looks after them to show them that you truly care, this will create a brand advocate. So I had an individual who was in the academy many, many years ago. This was a high-ticket coaching program. And she emailed me not so long ago and said, I didn't have a good experience in that program. And I handled it by saying to her, hey, I'm really sorry about this. I've grown a lot in the last few years. I've changed the way that I create and the way that I show up. I would love to make it up to you if you're game, and I'd love to support you in your business. And I gave her some options on ways to do that. And she was blown away. She was like, I did not expect that. Thank you so much. And so every unhappy customer is always an opportunity for us if we're willing to see it that way. The main takeaway is that do not respond in the emotional reds that they have put you into. Frustration, shame, anger, attack, blame. This will only exacerbate the entire situation. If you're willing to shift your energy and respond in a cool, calm, and collected manner, you're going to find on the back of this bigger opportunities, clients that are raving about you, clients that will stick with you for years and years to come. And if it was in the case of the first instance where you're cutting them off and setting boundaries, again, in a cool, calm, collected manner, you're going to find on the back of that the perfect clients landing. This is what I've always experienced in my businesses, what I see my clients. The moment you cut off a client that is not aligned with your values and what you stand for and your business and your well-being, there's a client that is aligned times 100 that comes on the back of that. So thank you so much for tuning into another episode of the Flow Protocols. I hope you have found this episode beneficial. Maybe this was something that you're dealing with right now, and hopefully it's given you a little bit of clarity on how to move forward. Remember, if a client is unhappy with you, it's not that you're failing. We all fuck up. We all drop the ball. There's always something that goes wrong sometimes. That's okay. It's part of business. But the way we handle it on the back can actually be the best thing that's ever happened to you. So don't get depressed. Don't go into despair. Don't go into anxiety. See it as an opportunity. Recalibrate. And you will find on the other side a totally different experience.